Hello, I'm glad you're here. Welcome to Meditation, Mindfulness in Nature. I'm Roger, and we're in Wisconsin in the United States, in a beautiful woodland that's starting to leaf out as it's late spring. Today we're going to explore an interesting piece of wood, but first let me tell you the definition of mindfulness that I use. Mindfulness is bringing our attention, our awareness, and our focus to our breath, our emotions, our thoughts, our senses, and our surroundings, while being aware of our judgments, trying to reduce our judgments, and being in the current moment, letting the moment that just pass. There are 3 ways to use these videos. 1, you can just sit, watch me do this guided meditation, and relax and enjoy it, and enjoy the beautiful scenery. 2, you can get an object similar or like what I'm going to use and do the practice with me. 3rd, when you're out in nature, you can bring up this video or remember this video and find a piece of wood and then do the practice there. So what we're going to do with this piece of wood is really explore it with our senses. And so first let's settle in. And I'm just going to do a couple paying attention to my breath. And the first sense I'm going to explore this with is my vision. Oops, and I'm going to get my glasses on after I drop them. Dropping them wasn't planned. So I'm just going to start to look at this piece of wood. And I'm going to describe it. So the first sense I'm exploring is vision, sight. And our brains like logic and we like figuring things out. So I can tell that this piece of wood, it's actually probably a branch off of a tree. This is probably how it grew. And so I can look at that. But the way that it broke off from the tree, it just left this really cool looking shape. I like the little curve and wave to it. That's what I picked this up a while ago because I thought it looked really cool. And this is where the branch was, and I can see, this is pretty straight. And there's a lot of different colors in it when I look closely. Of course, there's this kind of creamy, there's actually a lot of colors, because this is kind of a grayish cream. Here's more of kind of a tan brown cream. Then there's this darkness. There's browns. There's different lines in it. I'm just going to kind of go through and let you see it also. So you can see there's a lot of color variation in this piece of dead wood. And a lot of that color variation continues up the straight part. Try to turn it slowly so you can see as well. Now the dark part is, to me, that really almost black part. It's just really pretty striking. And just all the different shades and variation in just the colors in this. And then I can go to this broken part, which I'll show you, the broken front part. And what I see there is a lot of the same color, but there's a lot of texture. There's all these little kind of broken, ripped parts where that branch broke. And I could spend a lot of time looking at those, and I can look at how the light plays and the light and shadow, and there's little fine particles. Here's actually a little hole you may or may not be able to see right there. And then I also can turn it around to this part where it broke off of the tree and ripped apart. And I got this from a stream bed that had flooded, so there's some mud in there. That's not a surprise, and that's just a different visual. This doesn't have as much color, but chestnut is a real favorite color of mine, and this isn't exactly chestnut, but it's pretty close. And so that's just a color I like. And being aware, I just told you a favorite, which is when we like something, that's also a judgment. It's okay. It's just to be aware of it. Like picking out a favorite is a judgment. I just noticed and I did it. And there's some dirt and debris on here a little bit, and I'm labeling that. There's some little bitty cracks in the wood. I don't know if you'll be able to see them right there. I'll stop. And it's just a lot. Here's some more gray part. Oh, and as I turned it for you to see the gray, I noticed this part where it broke, which is really pretty interesting too. So just visually exploring this and up this straight part. So first we visually explore, and then the next we're going to do is touch. And of course, I've already been handling it, so I kind of know parts of what it feels like. This part, I'm going to be a little bit careful so I don't get a sliver, but this part is really smooth. You know, this part is just very smooth and feels most humans like feeling smooth. It's kind of a comforting feeling, and so feeling this feels really nice. This part, as I expected from looking at it, feels smooth. There's still a little bit of dirt on it. I didn't clean it up, and so there's a little bit of dust, a little bit of fine particles that I can feel. And then I'm going to turn to this side, and of course, like this is pretty pokey, pretty little sharp points, not hurting me, but I'm cautious with them, and it's interesting to when I say I'm cautious because like feeling this, I mean, I don't want to get a sliver, but like this feels really comforting, and this feels like be careful. This feels like handle with care, and I can come down. There's some smoothness here. There's some smooth parts, but they're not as smooth as this. And there's a little piece that kind of comes in and out. It's a little bit springy. Can explore that. There's another one. And then here's a little rougher. And I'm doing, because it's raw wood, instead of really gliding along it, I'm more kind of touching it this way. Now so I could explore this for quite some time if I wanted, just of all the different ways of what do I feel. Here it's kind of interesting feeling this edge. It's not sharp like a knife, but compared to the other surfaces, there's a little bit of that coming to an edge. I can feel that. There's a little crack here. I can feel it with my fingernail. I feel that the difference of elevation with my finger. And I'm aware that my shoulder is holding this up so it's in frame, and so my shoulder is getting a little tired. So touching, we of course we explore and we touch with our hands, but we also can like explore touching my arm with it. So it's kind of, it moves the hairs. I feel the skin. It feels different on my skin. If I do it this way, you can probably see better. So touching doesn't only have to be with our fingers. I can do it on my face, on my forehead, and I have whiskers, so like I can feel it different on my whiskers, and it's making sound, which is another sense that we can go to. So this in and of itself doesn't make sound. There's no really rattling parts. It doesn't catch the wind. It doesn't make sound that way. But when I touch it, it makes sound, and I can knock on it. And when I rub it with my hand, my fingers, it probably, I don't know if you'll hear that, but you certainly can hear me knocking on it. And it's kind of, there's something to explore, and I'll stop talking, is like, do we get different tones? That definitely sounds different. So we could play with this, we could play. Oh. So I mentioned play, and I'm really exploring it. One of the interesting points of exploring stuff like this is to notice how engrossed I can become. And so, like, I'm not having other thoughts. I'm really, besides talking to you and remember that I'm guiding a meditation or a mindfulness practice, I'm really very engaged in this. So there's sound. I can smell it. Oh, it does smell. It smells more than I expected. What does it smell like? It smells kind of woodsy, earthy. And I didn't know if it would smell that much. It smells kind of interesting. Of course, our brains are often like thinking for more logic and explanation. So a part of me is like, different woods have different smells. And I'm like, I don't know what kind of wood this is. And I can't tell by smell. But that's also just being aware of what's my brain doing with thoughts. My brain is exploring this, but it's like going to like, what kind of wood is it? It's a kind of wood, but that's more a thought than just being with this piece of wood. I hope that makes sense. So we have looked at it, we have touched it and felt it, we have listened to it, and we have smelled it. I'm not going to taste it. There are some kinds of wood you can eat, but I'm not going to taste this one. I have no idea what it is. And so those are just going through our 5 basic senses, not doing taste, with a piece of wood. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me for this. I hope it's brought you kind of some grounding. And it has me. And these are practices that I like to do. And they're just pretty short and simple. And really, I find it easier to focus with an object. So thank you for watching. And I'm going to step out now and just let you look at this scene and listen to the birds. So take your time and just kind of, hopefully you're feeling a little more relaxed than when we started. I'll let you relax a bit more. Take care of yourself, and I wish you well.